So the season 1 finale to Superman and Lois, my highest anticipated 2021 Arrowverse season, premiered last night. So today I thought it was time for me to stop and review Superman and Lois season 1 and also the finale. Please note that everything that I will say in this video is just my very own opinion. My name is SW Nation and you are free to comment down below. What did you think of the Superman and Lois season finale and also the season as a whole? Please don't forget to check out that Twitter that's going to pop up on your screen right now. Don't forget to check out that Arrowverse playlist that has everything Arrowverse related that I have on my channel up above. Also, please note that the first half of this video is just going to be a breakdown of the Superman and Lois finale. Is going to be spoilers ahead, so watch out for those. I'm going to put time codes inside of the description, and the last half of this video is just going to be the season review as a whole. With that being said, like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into our breakdown. So we kick off this finale with Lois and Clark trying to find their son Jordan. Clark is flying up to the atmosphere to see if he can find Jordan by hearing him. Unfortunately, he does not. And also, we meet up with Kyle and Lana Cushing, finding General Lane, Sarah, and Jonathan. Here, we get introduced to Evil Jordan, and then our title screen pops up. There's something that I love. The Cushing staying back with the army, or like with General Lane's crew, and trying to save Smallville. I think them staying to help with the crisis, despite all of their criticism, just shows how loyal they are to Smallville, the Cushings are. So I just love that. The people of Smallville, they start to question General Lane and his troops about Edge, and Superman finds Jordan in the midst of all this, who's switching back and forth from evil to Clark's son. And I think I really did like that aspect. Even though Jordan, okay, he wasn't the best character inside of this episode, I still believe that they did a really great job with handling the evil Jordan. And even though it was pretty predictable, I still like the way that they did it. A fight ensues between Zeta inside of Jordan's body and Superman. And this fight, air quotation marks, shows Superman humanity. He knows that that's his son. He knows that his son is now evil. He knows that Zeta has fully taken over his son, or is about to fully take over his son. But in the midst of it, all he sees is his son. So it just shows his humanity, how much he's grown to appreciate or understand his son more, that he won't even hurt him to even save him. So I love all of that, and it shows Superman humanity. Like I said, John Henry Irons, he joins in on the fight in his DC version of an Iron Man suit with his DC version of Jarvis and Friday, which is very weird. I mean, everybody that I know that's watching the show says that they see very clear similarities between John's suit and Iron Man. And I gotta say, I agree with the similarities, because they're practically the same. I mean, bulletproof, yeah. They can fly, yeah. Super speed, yeah. So they can do a lot of things. You got the AI inside of there. We also get to see him inside of the HUD display, just like Tony Stark. So yeah, it's just like Iron Man's a little bit. Morgan Edge begins to take General Lane's soldiers and put them under mind control, thus giving them Kryptonian abilities. And I just think overall this finale up to this point for me has been great. This whole entire finale just has the urgency. It has the tension, all of it. It has some of that tension that was inside of the Arrow season 1 finale, that was inside of the Flash season 1 finale, that was inside of the Flash season 2 finale. So I think that this does kind of rival those shows, those earlier seasons of those shows a little bit. And I like the fact that they capitalized on the fact that this is a urgent, high stakes thing for Smallville. I mean, Smallville never really experienced something like this, and to have something like this happen inside of Smallville, and then you can see the people that reacts to it. The people are like, hey, like, what are these guys doing in our town? Like, just leave, just go. Like, we were fine, we were happy before you guys came here. And it just shows how small town Smallville is, but it also shows how much these people care about their town, how much these people care about their community, and they're willing to do anything to help / save their community. So I think all of that works well, and it fits the character of Superman a lot, giving the people hope. All of it worked for me. After this, the team starts to get ready to take down Edge and Jordan. We have Lois and Jonathan holding down the fort inside of the barn, waiting for Jordan to be dropped off there by Superman and John Irons. So John Irons and Superman, they go to fight the soldiers, and with Jordan, John Irons manages to get Jordan out of there and fly him back to the barn in Smallville, and Superman is able to fly away the other Kryptonian soldiers. After this, Lois begins to go inside of Jordan's mind, and there she finds him from a scene in the first episode and assures him that he is strong. And I thought that this scene was actually pretty great. As throughout the series, we learned that Jordan is really close with Lois, and Jonathan is really close with Clark. So throughout the show, they kind of switch places a little bit, where Jonathan is close with Lois now because they're both the humans inside of the mix, and Jordan is close with Clark. But in the end, the person who has to break Jordan out of his mind control state, or has to break Jordan out of this state, is his mother, Lois, who he's very much close to, even more close to her than he is his father, where he gets his abilities from. All of it worked for me. I mean, you wouldn't think of it at that first moment unless you would rewatch this show, or, if you remember. But I think that actually worked pretty well. The fact that the person that he's closest with in his family, besides Jonathan, the person that he's closest with in his family was able to get him out of the mind control. That's great. After this, the final battle happens with Clark and John. Some more tension inside of the mix as John Irons' Iron Man suit is beginning to fail and lose power at 4%. It reminds me of that scene in Iron Man where he's like,
15% power, the odds of reaching that.
I know the math, do it.
Just a hilarious scene for me that I thought it kind of reminded me of. So then John, he powers up the hammer. Clark goes down with a sonic boom. He has fire coming off of him and everything like that. He goes down to Morgan Edge, puts him in a headlock, and waits for the hammer to hit Morgan Edge. And that's what kind of knocks him out a little bit. So Clark and John were able to defeat and take out Edge. And as for John, Clark did save him. John's armor failed and it lost power, and Clark was able to save him, so there's that. Obviously, Edge doesn't die. We're going to have to bring him back for another season, right? I didn't think that he was that good of a villain, but I still think that he was fine. For the show that they were going for, he was fine. After the war is over, the town starts to rebuild, and Clark goes on the record to explain what happened. And like I said, I love the fact that this episode shows his humanity, and it shows how inspirational Clark can actually be, how inspirational Superman can actually be to Smallville, to the rest of the world. So he puts out a nice little inspirational speech, goes on the record to explain what happened between Edge and Smallville, who Edge really was, and his relationship to Superman. After this, Cal throws a barbecue reminiscent of the Fast and Furious movies for me. Every movie ends with a barbecue and everybody coming together to say grace and eat. That's just tradition for those movies. And then we get a final callback to Injustice 2 as Jonathan and his other football buddies are playing Injustice 2. He's playing as Superman. It's a nice little callback. And then in the end, Jonathan does get that, that junior girl, even though he's a freshman. It's kind of weird. While we're at it, while we're talking about happy endings, Lois and Chrissy starts their own paper run by them. John has some closure with Lois, not all the way, which is very clear inside of the last couple of scenes of this episode and in the conversation that he had with Lois in this scene. And Jordan and Sarah gets to kiss. I thought that the relationship between those two was timed perfectly and well executed. After the barbecue, Clark buries the crystals from the Fortress of Solitude. And as we're winding down inside of the finale, in a shocking turn of events, at the end, a spaceship crashes down onto the Kent farm, and who steps out? It's John Henry Irons' daughter. She's back, she survived. Her and her father, they meet up again, they hug, with her looking exclusively at Lois and saying, "Mom." And that's how the episode ends. Please don't forget to comment down below, what did you think of the finale for Superman and Lois? And with that being said, let's move right into my review. And the good thing about this season is the fact that the CW managed to develop a Superman series that rivals that of the first seasons of Flash and Arrow. This Superman is the one that wasn't well liked, but most likely people will definitely love this iteration of the Arrowverse character. The best and most surprising thing about this show, for me, is the high budget look and quality, even though it's all CW and not HBO Max. I'm not a father, I'm not a parent, but this show is definitely for fathers and mothers, parents in general, with kids. Superman in this show gets even more relatable, touching that of Cavill's Superman by showing us how the Man of Steel, the most powerful being on Earth, deals with being a parent. All of this power, the super speed, the super strength, the flight, all of it, it can't help you in parenthood. It can't help you with these teenage boys. It can't help you in marriage. And I love that. I love the fact that they went that relatable. They went that grounded. The kids were surprisingly good for me. Like, I thought that I was going to hate them, but they were very surprising to me. I really did love them. The disagreements are all natural, and at the end of the day, Lois doesn't really get that mad at Clark like Felicity does at Oliver, because she understands her husband and she understands the lives that her kids, and her husband lives as Superman. So there's no arguments where it's like, I'm not talking to you anymore because you lied to me. They all understand each other and they work as a family, and that's relatable. That's realistic. And I love the fact that they didn't go that route that they did with Oliver and Felicity. When Jordan gets caught spying on Jonathan, obviously Jonathan is mad about it, but he still loves his brother. He still cares for his brother. So he's going to stick up for his brother when times gets tough, especially when Jordan wants to play football. Jonathan stands up for his brother. Jonathan is there for his brother. The same way around, Jordan is there for Jonathan in some scenes. So I like the fact that they did that. Just seeing Superman take his kids to school is proof that this show is different. And I love the fact that they distanced themselves away from the rest of the Arrowverse with minor hints to Oliver and Diggle and Lila. And Lila has some mentions in the show, and Diggle even appears in the show. I love the fact that we deepen down into the character of Lois Lane and actually touching on some very emotional stuff with her and her miscarriage. The show is very mature, it has very mature writing. This grounded, the effects are just great, top notch, of the caliber of early Flash and Arrow. And I just think that the Cushings as a family, Cal, Lana, Sarah, all of them together, that family, I thought they had a nice counterbalance to Kent's family. But with that being said, let's move right into the mixed. And the mixed thing that comes to mind here is that some of Jordan's acting isn't the best, but it gets better as he opens up a little bit more throughout the rest of the season. I'm talking in sense of the actor and also the character. Also, Sarah Cushing as a character in the first beginning episodes, she comes off as this emo kid. You can get to see why she is like this, why she's a little bit more distant, and throughout the season she opens up a little bit more as well. But Sarah is a character that does cuss out her parents, that is very rebellious towards her parents, and for me growing up, that wasn't my upbringing. I don't curse out my parents. I don't say, oh, I'm gonna kill myself in front of other people. You just don't do that. So I can understand why the character did what she did, but at the same time she does come off as a stereotypical teenage girl who has depression problems. And yes, depression is a real thing in the real world, but as of right now, it's kind of a trend to a lot of people. And it's just plain disrespectful to those who have gone through depression and came out the other side. Sarah Cushing is a great example of that. I love her characterization inside of the show. Just in those earlier episodes, it just felt like we were retreading the same step that I've seen people fake before. The villains are also pretty forgettable. Morgan Edge, he works for the show, but at the end of the day, he and the other girl, they were the boring parts of the episodes. With that being said, let's move right into the bad. And the bad thing that comes to mind here is that the hiatuses hurt this season a lot. The first one was okay, I get it, because Supergirl had to come into play. But then it felt like every time it got serious, every time it kept, the ante, it started ramping up, a hiatus happened. 2 weeks. Oh, wait, let's wait 2 more months. The hiatuses just took away from the momentum for me, and I had to really go back and rewatch the entire season to understand what this Morgan Edge arc was about. But at the end of the day, I still very much enjoyed this season. In conclusion, Superman and Lois wowed me with this grounded take of the Man of Steel, rivaling that of Cavill's Man of Steel, answering questions of what does Clark do in parenthood, what does he do in marriage when he can't use his powers. He can't use his powers. He can't use his laser beams or super strength on being a dad or being a husband. I love that about this show. I'm gonna have to give this show an A+ and a 9.8 out of 10. I would say definitely binge it because I very much love this season, and it was my highest anticipated Arrowverse show of 2021, and it did not disappoint. I also got to talk about the graphic novel arc that's inside of this season, that's inside of every 2021 Arrowverse season. I think this one had the best one because the Steel arc with John Irons connected directly to Morgan Edge's arc, and I thought all of it just worked perfectly well, tying a nice little bow on this entire season. Alright guys, that was it for my Superman and Lois season review and season finale breakdown. Please note that everything that I did say in this video was just my very own opinion, and you're free to comment down below what did you think of the Superman and Lois finale and also the season as a whole. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please don't forget to check out that Arrowverse playlist. That link is in the description. Also, don't forget to check out my Twitter. That's going to pop up on your screen right now. With that being said, like, comment, and subscribe guys, and I will see you all next time. Peace.